Hello and welcome back, YouTube. It's 11:21 and just finished off another thrilling shift. Moving the Hertz rental cars around for MLS. All things considered, tonight went pretty well. Sorry, I was so discombobulated on the ride into work today. I was still not feeling 100%. I'm still not feeling 100%. And I was not very focused, to put it mildly. But I'm feeling a lot better now. I was having some digestive issues about an hour ago, but whatever that was, that seems to have passed. So that's a good thing. Just got a random text message from Priscilla asking if I was coming out for karaoke after work. I'm not sure where. Actually, now that I think of it, I think I do know where she is. She's probably at Gypsy's Roadhouse. So I was so busy talking about being sick and not getting to work at Factor last weekend. I'm really bummed. I was looking forward to that. I've been reading up a little bit on Factor, and it's just, for the most part, I really dig what HelloFresh does, and eager to see their new division. Which is fine, you know, I'll see it in due time. I'm sure I'll pick up more shifts. Kind of weird the way the communications work on Wonolo. I did tell Priscilla that the thing to do was to contact, because she went to the job and she was trying to cancel the job. I'm like, no, don't do that. Said it's less than 12 hours from the job. That'll be a strike against me. I'll get penalized for that. She's like, I don't see anywhere to click in if you're sick. I'm like, yeah, I don't think there is anything like that. If you're a Wonolo, or you just assume that you never get sick, I guess. Of course, granted, if you're getting sick, generally you know 12 hours before your shift and you can cancel it, but man, 12 hours before my shift, I felt okay. That fever and sinus drainage and everything, it came on really, really fast. Kind of reminiscent of when I got COVID, and I don't know if that's what it was again. I was planning on going to the urgent care to get a COVID test, and then I felt so absolutely completely shitty on Friday that I laid in bed in pain and took more pills and tried to pass out and was just kind of in and out of conscious. That's how I spent the majority of my Friday. Yeah, definitely did not feel up to driving myself to the urgent care. So I really haven't talked about what happened at work after the whole incident with Jessie. And I'm not sure if I really want to talk about that much, but I guess as much as I went off about the incident, I should at least give some kind of closure. I will say Jessie's a lot more entrenched into that company as far as with Rob and with the other woman whose name I keep forgetting, but Rob text messaged me her name. That is what it is. Now, obviously, I've got some pretty strong favor as well. I think his is just based on having been there a long time, and he's kind of good old boy network, if you know what I mean. Whereas me, I don't think I'm anybody's favorite person to be around. I just have a ridiculously strong work ethic and get a lot done. And one thing that's become very clear is that unlike your typical person that they get, particularly in maintenance, where some supervisors got to keep an eye on it to make sure that they're working and not just sitting off in some random car smoking weed, vaping, or just playing on their cell phone, that I'm actually working. I never stop for more than just a few seconds. And usually when I do, it's because I heard something so awesome on the radio that I just had to look it up on YouTube and save it to my favorites. I actually heard a Dolly Parton song tonight that I've never heard before. And I've been a fan of Dolly Parton since I was probably 5 years old. I own a huge portion of her discography. I mean, you can go onto my Discogs and what you see listed on my Discogs ain't shit compared to what I have from Dolly Parton, because I've got so much on vinyl that I haven't cataloged yet. And another place I have a lot of Dolly Parton is in my 8 tracks that need repair, which takes up pretty much an entire lax cube near my vinyl. And I've just listened to so much of her music, so it just seemed really odd to hear a song on the radio from Dolly. I'm like, well, that's obviously Dolly. What the hell is this? writes the bulk of her own songs. She's kind of a songwriting machine, for those who don't know, and very, very prolific songwriter. And this is, I could just tell the lyrics. This just had Dolly written all over it. It's one of those kind of songs. It tells a story, and I was sucked into the story. I think it's called Joshua. Anyway, yeah, I did take a couple minutes on that, but I mean, max minute and a half to look that one up, and then send a link to it to Priscilla just to kind of get her feedback on the song. And then I'm right back to work. Anyway, back to the meeting. It lasted a while, because I didn't know if I was going to stay with my job when I went in on Thursday. I had half a mind to just say, you know what, I'm done. I feel there were several things I won on, there were several things I didn't win on. I didn't walk out with the yellow vest and the title of lead, so that's a little disappointing. And Jessie is still very much a shift manager as opposed to just lead. None of my opinions are going to change that, because I seem to be in the, I wouldn't even say in the minority, I seem to be the only one, although I did recall a woman that I worked with talking about him, although it took a little while for me to figure out that's who she was talking about. Things she was talking about, anybody who does that. One day I rode around with him, I'm like, oh, she must be talking about this guy. Fits his actions to a T. I will say he didn't, and as I mentioned before, he didn't say a word to me the entire night after we left that. And at one point I think Rob and then the other gal as well, it's killing me, I can't remember her name, they both said, oh well, I'm sure Jessie doesn't have it out for you. I don't think there's just no way he's targeting you. And I'm like, well, I'm not convinced. Because it's going to take a lot to convince me of that. And at one point they said, well, you know, he is a shift lead, so I mean, if you can't work with him, he is your boss. When we're not there, he is your boss. If that's going to be a problem, then you're either going to, you know, have to stop working here, or you're going to have to go to a different shift. You know, are you going to be able to deal with that? I said, yeah, I can deal with that. I just need him to not be constantly targeting me. So to be fair to Jessie, he didn't say a word to me Thursday. I don't think he worked tonight. I didn't see him at all, and I don't recall him ever working on Sundays. Now, how much of that had to do with the fact that I was rolling around with Steve, that's the new guy whose name I can never remember, is hard to say. My work ethic was definitely not what it normally is on Thursday. I was letting Steve drive the shag and just kind of directing in his direction. Two major things they changed on me. I did mention the thing about the Shelbys, and I'm like, well, you're not supposed to drive the Shelbys. I'm like, really? I said, because I've literally been driving them since day one. I was told to move them by Esther. And someone's like, well, that's not why she's not a lead. I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's why she's not a lead. Which, whatever. I'm not fond of driving the things anyway. I just find it really weird that something that has been completely acceptable and something that I've done in front of Hertz management without issue is suddenly like forbidden, something I'm not allowed to do when there's never been an issue with me moving them for nearly 3 months. I just find that super weird. But yeah, they don't want me to move them, not a problem. I have no problem walking by them and just leaving them sitting where they're at. In fact, kind of in protest of that, there was one in the middle of the shop line, also known as the pink line, down on the maintenance yard on Thursday night. I moved the cars in front of it. I didn't fuck with any of the cars behind it. And at the end of the night, I didn't consolidate everything because A, I told them I'm not supposed to move a Shelby, and B, I just don't feel the motivation. Now, on the previous Tuesday night, once the day shift maintenance drivers had left and it was just me and Steve, I was kind of giving Steve direction on where to go. I wasn't even bothering with it on Thursday. I just let him go where he wanted to go. If he just wanted to sit and chill, and hey, anybody came up to me and said anything about it, he's driving, I'm sitting there in the passenger seat. What you want me to do? It's kind of funny. He kept making a joke out of it too. He's like, I could just see Jessie come up to you. It's like, what is your job, Dan? What are you doing? Moving cars. What the fuck does it look like I'm doing? Anyway, so there's no Shelby thing, although the biggest thing, and Jessie was trying to make it look like I was not doing the things I was supposed to do because I was focused on the electric cars. Now, my focus on electric cars, a lot of it stems to the fact that I've been cross-trained to do it. And one thing that I learned when I was a juicer for Lime, which should be a pretty basic, simple to understand thing, but for some reason Hertz doesn't seem to fully grasp it, is when electric cars are not being driven and they're near a charger, they need to be charging. They don't charge themselves. It's not like putting gas in a gas car where you just roll up, fill it up, and you're done. It's a time-consuming process. Kind of like when you have a smartphone and you know you're going to be using it a lot. Whenever you're around a charger, you plug it in. That way, later it's not dead. Same thing with electric cars, same concept. And that's why whenever I would see one, as long as I was caught up on everything that needed to be caught up in terms of maintenance, I would handle it. If I saw a red light on a charger, if I saw a blue light on a charger, I would handle it immediately so that it was back to juicing. And whenever I walked by the charger banks, I checked all the charger banks. Generally speaking, en route to maintenance cars, I would also, if I saw a blue one, put it out. Blue one meaning the car was fully charged, blue light on the charger. Get it out to stall. That way that charger was available for another one. And of course I would be trying to get another car in the charger as quickly as I could. Well, Jessie painted it to look like I was doing that when that didn't need to be done. I'm not going to argue why it needs to be done, because obviously he's a manager and I'm a maintenance driver, so why am I even messing with that? Alrighty then. So they told me not to do any electrics anymore unless they're designated as maintenance cars. I'm a little miffed about it, but the bottom line is it's their loss, not mine. It is a little hard to walk by those chargers and just not even look at it. It is. Especially when I see, for hours at a time, large amounts of chargers that are just sitting empty. And then I'm walking by a large amount of electric cars just sitting, not moved. I know the right thing to do is to get them cars on the chargers, but I've been told not to, so not doing it. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I will say it left a pretty bad taste in my mouth the way the whole meeting went down. Low IQ Jessie's two-faced as fuck. There's no other way to explain that. The way he portrays stuff versus how it happened. Where he came in, I even told that to Rob. I said, you know, to hear him talk about what happened, it's like reading a police report, and then when you watch the body cam, it's just not the same thing. I said, what he's saying happens is such a misrepresentation of the truth. But, you know, I don't have any camera footage to show that. It's just my word against his word, and then everybody else wanting to back up his word. Apparently he's very well liked, and me, not so much. Anyway, on that note, I'm home. I don't know if my trial is tomorrow or the next day. You'd think I would be more cognizant of that, but when my trial was set in June, my trial for assault, I was defending myself against the guy who, crazy security guard who came at me, threatening me for no good reason with fucking pepper spray right through rocks just to try and protect myself. I don't know if that trial's tomorrow or the next day. And I don't know where the hell my court papers are. It was set back in June. It is a long time. And fortunately, I've got my blog, so probably the easiest way for me to figure that stuff out is you watch my vlogs from those dates. I'm sure I'll be talking about it. But yeah, I don't remember. And I definitely need to figure that out, because one thing is for certain, if I don't show up, court warrants will be issued for my arrest.